Do you agree with that one?
You didn't mention their single "Snow," right?
No.
I like
I
that one.
think Snow's in the top 10.
Hmm. Okay.
Danny California's in the top 10.
Yeah.
By the way, is in the top 10.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I can't disagree with that. That's absolutely true.
The only like single that I would put in the top 10 that isn't on any of their albums and it's on the Beavis and Butthead Do American track is Love Roller Coaster, which was it's a cover, yes, but so was Higher Ground. That's my opinion on the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Actually, I was on like when I went to SGC at RTX with a buddy of mine who I haven't seen in quite some time since college, I guess. Um, Grant. He and he and his buddy, like his buddy was picking us up because he lives in Texas, and we were talking about music, and I mentioned like, oh, you must like the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and he's like, no, I think Anthony Kiedis is a terrible singer, and I was just like, oh, okay. And we're listening to Queens of the Stone Age, which I don't know if that's really any better.
Okay. I like dude's music. I like Queens of the Stone Age, but to say
And
like,
oh yeah, I like Queens of the Stone Age, but to say
yeah,
that that's better than the Red Hot Chili
yeah,
Peppers is ludicrous.
no, absolutely not. That's just that's just madness, is what that is.
Yeah, that's lunacy. Oh,
That is like chaos in a jar suggesting such a thing. Because, like I said, I mean, I really like the dude's tunes, but what? Uh,
yeah,
no.
yeah. Like he seemed very snobbish on the music,
Well,
and he didn't like Kanye, which I can understand that. But like, I can understand not liking Kanye as a person, but the artist, you gotta have some respect for him because he's done so much for hip hop, gave it such a fresh sound, and yeah, I don't know. I have very strong opinions on this stuff.
uh, I could say my contribution to heavy metal was -2.
Ooh, kind of harsh.
Mm, we weren't exactly the best. We weren't exactly the best. Sometime I'll have to see if I can like find some stuff and let you hear it, because I don't think I ever have for as long as I've known you. And then you could see. Largely, it's the vocals.
Is it worse than Who's Driving?
Never heard of him.
Oh God, you should ask Eric about them sometime because they played on that Marshall talk show.
Oh, oh
Yeah,
God.
yeah. One of their lines is "Cat's out of the bag. It's gonna get nasty. Someone else rhinoplasty." Like it's like, okay guys, let's come up with some rhymes here. It's like "Cat's out of the bag." I don't know what runs the bag. It's gonna get nasty. Okay, I can work with that. Someone else rhinoplasty. Yeah, that sounds good. No, it doesn't.
No, I can say with certainty that we didn't have like random rhyming, because I think I would have burned the building down. Pretty certain I would, because that's just no. Stop that. We're human beings, God damn it.
hmm But aside from that, before we begin, I will say that my new favorite subreddit is our Two Saints Row.
Two Saints Row?
Two Saints Row. And this was because, like, I don't know if you've ever been at a GameStop and you've seen, like, different, like, cover art, like, drawn cover art.
Yeah.
This is what that subreddit is dedicated to because of what happened a few days ago.
Oh.
Because somebody linked like it was a copy of Saints Row 2, but what the drawing was like two saints rowing, which could easily confuse someone. It's like, oh, this is a good wholesome Christian game.
That's wonderful. So
with that, let's begin.
Yeah, I was going to say, you know what's happened already.
You know what's about to happen. You know what time it is.
Oh, you should already know what time it is.
Really, we don't.
Yeah, well, it's not high noon. You're already live. Say hello to everyone.
Hi, everybody.
I couldn't pass up on the opportunity. I couldn't.
Oh, I know when you go live, and it's just it's a matter of, okay, this is happening now.
Oh God, I'm a terrible, terrible host. But it's what I do. If I didn't do that, people wouldn't know what they were watching or what they were listening to.
I think people already question what they're watching already. They just stumble upon Twitch streams and like, what the hell's going on here?
Bad things.
I think that's how many people like. That's how my stream gets found often. It's just like a bunch of random clicking. It's like, oh God, I'm here. Get me out of here.
That's probably the best way to handle that when you stumble across something like this. You're just like, wait a second, I think it's time to leave.
Yes.
That's that's probably the best way to handle that.
Everybody.
All right, so we'll get in with the official everything here. Get all that going, but I'm super fucking excited about the whole thing. I can't help it. So,
okay.
after months, Tanner's back.
I'm back.
He's back. It's the big reunion.
I'm like Dad who came back from the grocery
store.
Instead, I'm actually coming back.
Did you get the milk?
No.
Damn. Why did you even go to the store then?
Reasons. Because reasons.
Fair enough. Okay. So this is a Reset Press special edition. We did this before with Eric A.K. Monkey. So doing it again, this is the DTT years, part 2. So basically, what's going on here is we are going to talk about the little project that was Debase to This, debasetothis.org, DTT, however you know the name of the place. That's what we're going to discuss. Because it was a big project that started in 2008, and I had no idea it would get as big and as beloved as it did, and of course now it's but a memory. But that's why we're here to share some of those crazy memories.
Did you already talk about how, like, what the domain is right now?
No, I don't think we did. I don't think Eric
God.
and I brought that up at all last time.
Oh, it's so funny right now because it's not even close to what it was in the past.
It's still surfing, isn't it?
Yes. It's like okay, if you go to debasetothis.org right now, it's more like something about Cornwall, I think, the town in like Maine, possibly.
Oh yeah.
It's like it's all about like the coastal region of it and how you can surf and how you can go fishing.
Because
what does that have to do with debasing?
I don't know. Like, even if I wanted it back and wanted to do the website again, I'm not even sure how, that would happen at this point, simply because, I'm sorry, it's about surfing now.
Yeah. That, and how are you going to follow that up?
Take the old style and implement some surfing to appease both crowds, of course.
Oh, there we go, yeah.
Yeah, surfing while playing video games.
Well, technically, when you're on the internet, you're already surfing.
Oh, got us there.
Mission accomplished. All right. Now that that's out of the way.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my goodness.
So, back at the very beginning of DTT, when you first showed up, for anybody who isn't aware, of course, it started in 2008, right around late July, early August. So this is one good reason why I'm doing it right now, celebrating what would have been DTT's 9th birthday this year. So 9th anniversary. You came along in early 2009.
Yes.
And you didn't even have, like an official name or anything like that. Do you want to tell everybody what you went by at that time?
No, but I will say this. Like, back when I was starting out on ScrewAttack.com and DebaseToThis.org, like, before I even got to DebaseToThis.org, I heard, like, some mudslinging of the site already. I was like, what the hell? This guy can't be that bad, can he? And then I went over to the site, and I'm like, it's not so bad. I like it. And that was with, like, I think the thing that won me over was the Pepsi Man video that you did with Chef back in the day.
Oh, yeah. And
that was a fun video.
It's funny you bring that up because I put out on the DTT Twitter account that this month, 9 years ago, is when that video would have come out.
Oh, yes.
Both that and
Blip
the Mushroom
TV.
Bites video.
On Blip TV.
Blip, yeah. Jesus, that just
Man.
tells you how long ago that was.
Yeah, absolutely. That was 2009 was my. It was either like early 2009. I was still a freshman in college, and in late 2009, I was beginning my sophomore year, my second year of college. So that was the whole experience for me. I was transitioning from high school to college in Minot State University. First year of college was kind of terrible. I'm not gonna lie, it was an awful experience.
I think it's that way for a lot of people, honestly.
Yeah, but afterwards, I kind of grew into it and became very comfortable with the college lifestyle, and I still live that college lifestyle to this day.
Rock on.
Even though I graduated in 2013.
Yeah, you could take the guy out of the college, but you can't take the college out of the guy. Come on.
You never can. Dan Le Batard is living proof.
You give it the old college try, no matter what's going on. That's what's going on there.
I don't know if you always want to give it the old college try.
Sometimes you just don't want to try at all.
For example, you don't want to eat squid. Is it squid that's the one that's poisonous if you eat it? It's pufferfish. That's a pufferfish.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't want to do that. Like, if somebody dares you...
You don't want to give the old college try on that.
Yeah, if somebody dares you to do something like that, you don't want to be like, well, time to give it the old college try. No, you don't do that. That would be bad.
It's literally a coin toss.
Yeah, that's a no good there. Don't do that.
All right.
Early 2009, so you show up, you actually run into me and a few other people from the site, and we get acquainted with you. Do you remember how that happened? Because I do.
Yeah, actually. It was like the early days of the whole party chat system on Xbox 360. I think, like, the first people I met were Eric and Trevor. Trevor being Hellman 101 at the time. And we met through a game day of Call of Duty 4. I think Shadow Rider was there too.
It's possible.
Like, there was a few people there, but then we had the party chat system come about. I was kind of nervous at first because meeting new people for me was kind of a nervous experience at the time. But they introduced me to you. I was playing Halo 3, and we were playing Halo 3.
There you go. You do remember it.
It was what was the map? I can't remember the map. It was the one with the circle in the center.
Yes, it was the one with the circle in the center. I can't remember the name of it, but if we
it had like a forest atmosphere.
It had the forest, and then there was one side of the map where you could get the gravity hammer and just be a fucking chump the whole game.
Yeah.
So I remember that.
At the time, my handle on Xbox Live was IB Cyrax. There was a few different gamer tags I went through at the time, but that was after that I changed it to DTT Cyrax, and it's been like that for most of it ever since.
Mm-hmm. So the reason why you didn't have a name at the time is, of course, there was really no need to. You started out doing some videos. I believe you did kind of like an achievement hunter thing going on, right?
Yeah. At first, I wanted it to be, kind of, this educational series. Like, oh, here's how to get this achievement and all that.
Yeah.
I was racking up achievements, like crazy in some games. But after a while, I was like, well, let's just kind of switch it over to a parody kind of focus, because like I'm just running into some of these games like Sonic 06 and King of Fighters 12, where the online system, like, there were online achievements and you had to like rank up, get to the best attainable rank, which was near impossible. It was like table tennis. So it started out kind of being serious to being more of kind of jokey and a parody of these kind of videos. So it is what it is.
So the start of that, like you're saying, you started doing the videos there. The name you used when it came to Screw Attack just was not going to work. We're not going to mention it, but it was definitely not the right material.
Yeah,
so
it wasn't great.
No, so
very generic.
You were wondering, what you would use there, and I recall saying, why don't you just call yourself Cyrax, since you have IB Cyrax on Xbox?
Yeah. And you made a very good point on that. So, that's what I went with. That's the pseudonym I went with.
So at that point, you are Cyrax. So that happened. There were a few videos at the beginning. Kind of a big thing to take on something where it's an instructional video, how to get achievements and different things like that. So walk me through your thought process of the possibility of you're going to join up with us, you're going to do these videos. Why on earth would you take something like that on?
I felt like I had to just do something. Like, I wanted to do a video series for a long time, because I felt like writing wasn't going to be like, the one thing that's going to draw people to its attention. So I thought, let's do a video series on something. And I thought, well, why not cover trying to get some achievements, some hard to attain achievements, and trying to go through it about that way. Which I feel like if I had stuck with that for a long time, because capturing, let me say this first though, capturing video game footage was not as easy as it is now.
No.
Back in the day.
Jesus,
it was
no.
very roundabout. It was very much a pain in the ass trying to get game footage, let's say. But now you just buy an Elgato and you're good to go.
I mean, to set some people...
You had to buy a fucking Dazzle, and half the time it wouldn't work.
Exactly.
And then there was like the Pinnacle Studio, and half the time that didn't work because it was made by the same fucking company. And you had to go through Pinnacle Studio, which was a horrendous video making service. Like, I've grown grateful to something like Adobe Premiere Pro, where it has so many viable options, and Pinnacle Studio is a heaving, burning garbage trash of a software.
Pinnacle Studio is torture. It should be illegal. Yes. Adobe Premiere Pro, love it. If it wasn't for a rolling delete, I don't know what I would do with life.
Oh my Lord.
Oh yeah, that thing, rolling delete. If you ever want to get into this type of business, into this industry, the broadcasting industry, and then you want to create like an edited product afterward, get Adobe Premiere Pro, learn how to do precise cuts. Rolling delete will be your friend.
Or even if, like, Final Cut Pro is still a lot better.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that can do the same thing.
Never start with Pinnacle Studio, because I can't tell you how frustrated I was at times trying to get videos to work with Pinnacle Studio.
Yeah.
And sometimes, like, it was just unbelievably frustrating. Like, I remember I lost three different, like, projects with the Avatar: The Last Airbender video, where I was just being so unbelievably stupid throughout that whole video. It was an April Fool's prank. But I lost that project so many times. I didn't lose the video. The video was fine. And I was doing this all on a laptop, too. So it was just horrendously difficult.
Can you imagine that some people still use Sony Vegas?
Yeah, actually. I can imagine that some people would still use Sony Vegas. But
I don't know
you know
why.
what? I will say this. I will say this. I touched Sony Vegas a little bit, and it wasn't terrible. It wasn't terrible. It wasn't a dumpster fire like I thought it was going to be. But you know, it is what it is. It is a software.
You get your money's worth when it comes to Sony Vegas. I'll just put it that way. It's
Yeah.
it's very difficult to edit podcasts.
Oh, absolutely it is.
Oh,
it's more meant for video and graphics than it is for audio.
yeah, it's nightmare fuel if you're using it for audio. So keep that in mind, people, if you want to break into doing this here. And man, I lost my my train of thought there. So
Well, that's okay, because while you're getting your train of thought, I'll just fill this time here with some nonsense, some words that come out of my mouth.
okay, you've got the floor.
I'll mention. Like, did you talk about Preemptive Strike with Eric?
No.
Oh man, that was a video series I thought was excellent. That was a really good idea to cover demos.
Oh, you're right. Neither one of us remembered that.
Because some demos would go like off basically, and like for example, his first video was something about cricket, which I don't know why that was available in North America. The game wasn't coming out in North America, so the demo was available in North America before they took it down. So he got a video on that, and it was freaking great.
Yeah, I remember that now. Because he also did one, I think it was for one of the Driver games, too.
Oh, yeah, he did.
And that was just, that was a hot mess, is the way I would describe that game. Or at least that demo, I should say.
Yeah, but I will say that the idea of trying out a demo is the very lazy man way of going about it. Like watching a video of someone playing a demo because you don't want to try. Because I know some lazy people, some really lazy people where they don't even want to try a demo. So it's just like, well, let me watch this video of someone playing the demo. That was a good idea, I thought.
You fit a
some
need?
people would look at that. Some people would look at that and go, well, what's the point of doing this? I'm going to go play the demo. Some people are extremely lazy.
I honestly think that's one thing that we really tried to do when it came to debates to this, because, you know, a lot of people who are listening to this right now may not have been very active around that time, so I think we got to set the stage a little bit, because, like, the big thing that was happening at that time was Channel Awesome, or at that time was that guy with the glasses. And to keep in perspective of how many people were really paying attention to videos and trying new and different things, a lot of the people from that guy with the glasses are now on YouTube, and their subscriber counts are only in the thousands. So we considered those guys to be big, huge at the time. And, you know, it was a ripe market for all sorts of people to try all sorts of things. I think we really, really went into it, and we had some cool stuff. Specifically, and I'm sure you're going to love talking about this one, Mystery Video Game Theater 9000.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy. Oh, that was good. That was the beginning of the reaction feel. You know, like
Dina said the same thing, actually.
Reacting to videos is all the rage right now, and I feel like Mystery Video Game Theater 9000. Was one of the first series. Like, I'm not saying it was like the father of all these reaction videos. Of course not.
No.
But it was one of the first series, I feel, on YouTube that, you know, were really reacting to things, like reacting to different videos, reacting to all these other different things, and what people do now on YouTube for a living.
Yeah. It was definitely in the infancy of it. And I'm very proud to say that, you know, we were in the infancy of reaction videos, because I didn't even think of it that way until I was talking with Dina and brought that up, and she's like, you know, that was kind of the start of reaction videos.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh
was.
Shit, you're right. I didn't even think of it that way.
Here's the thing, though, with us kind of trying stuff. Like, I would say from 2006 to 2010, maybe 2011, that was a wild west of videos, because people were trying so many different things, like just trying to throw something to the wall and see what stuck. Some projects worked, some didn't. I feel like if you started out early enough on something, that it was going to catch on. And that's not always the case with YouTube, because now you could like start up a YouTube channel and it would be great. Case in point, Donkey. Like, so the notion, to me, the notion of you have to start out in 2006, 2007 to have a successful YouTube channel. Otherwise, what's the point? I don't feel that's the case.
No.
I feel like it's a myth.
No. I could agree with that. I mean, there's been plenty of YouTube channels that have come up and been very successful, and they showed up way late in the game. Geek and Sundry is one I can think of right off the top of my head.
Yep.
Felicia Day's channel.
Mm-hmm.
That one definitely did some great things. And we'll even put this out there, if people can recall. Screw Attack was purposely late to the game when it came to YouTube. Because at first, Craig wanted nothing to do with it. And
really?
Yeah. He said straightforward that they didn't want to focus on YouTube. They wanted you to come to Screw Attack to watch videos.
Yeah, that's right.
So even Screw Attack was very late to the game when it came to YouTube. First wanted nothing to do with it.
But they also had game trailers, which was a hotbed at the time for video game videos. So game trailers, I feel so sad about game trailers because, you know, what its demise was. And I'm not saying YouTube killed game trailers. What I'm saying is that Viacom looked at numbers and thought, oh, game trailers isn't doing as well as it once did. Time to shut it down. Even though game trailers was still a very successful website and one of the main websites to go to for video game news, in my opinion.
I really felt when game trailers had to close its doors that like the old guard of modern and classic games is officially over.
Yeah,
I really felt that way because you had just a few select websites that were doing things like that as people kept going more and more to YouTube, and yeah, they bit the dust. So that was around the same time when you said goodbye to Nintendo Power. You know, at that point, things like Electronic Games, Gaming Monthly, EGM, I know that they're a website now, but the magazine there died.
The magazine's died.
Mm-hmm.
Nintendo Power's gone. Game Pro, I think, bit the dust as well.
Oh, yeah. So that was definitely the old guard cracking and finally falling down.
I think the only video game magazines that are left is PlayStation, the official magazine, and Tips and Tricks.
And Game Informer, but that's because they are...
Oh, yeah, Game Informer,
yeah.
Of course. What the fuck am I saying?
It's okay. Now, the main reason...
No, Game Informer is, like, one of the top 5 sites to go to for video game news.
Yeah. Not only that, but let's be honest, the reason why you get a Game Informer magazine in mail, it's because GameStop owns them.
Oh,
and GameStop is able to burn that kind of cash to get you to get, like, their power-up rewards, and then you also get the Game Informer subscription with it. So that's the reason why. If that wasn't there, I'm not certain there would be a physical print version of Game Informer.
But what they do over at Game Informer is so good.
Oh, yeah.
It's so good, and it's so close to where I live, too. But
speaking of DTT really quick, because that reminds me, too, that was another thing that drew the both of us together back in the day. We both respected the hell out of Andy McNamara.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Andy McNamara, Andrew Reiner, Matt Helgeson, even Dan Reichert came from Game Informer, which... honestly, looking at it now, kind of surprises me. if you follow Dan Reichert on Giant Bomb, you'll wonder how that man got a job at Game Informer. But I love Dan to death, but man, he must have been really annoying around me.
Did you ever read his explanation of how he got the job at Game Informer?
No.
He wouldn't leave Andy McNamara alone.
Well, there you go.
He kept coming to him being like, here's my stuff, give me a job. Here's my stuff, give me a job. Here's my stuff, give me a job. And Andy must have been just like, fine, I'll give you the stupid job.
There you go. which everybody in the office was just so mad at Andy, I bet. Because I remember they were playing Mario Party 3 at one time. It was Tim Turi, Dan Reichert, Matt Helgeson, and Andrew Reiner, I think. No, it was Ben. God, I can't remember these names. It's so long ago. But it was three people, or not three, but four people, and they were just all hating on Dan the whole time because Dan was having a ball. They hated Mario Party at Game Informer. It is a known fact that Mario Party is not, very respected, I would say, over a Game Informer because Nintendo sent them a plaque for their bad reviews, and it was like, we applaud Game Informer for their stellar reviews of Mario Party 1 and 2, and it was just very in jest and very sarcastic of Nintendo, let's say.
That's awesome. I did not know that.
Yeah, that's a little tidbit about Game Informer. Like, they have a plaque from Nintendo on their reviews of Mario Party, and their reviews on Mario Party are not good.
I'm going to get your initial reaction to something here, and
Yes.
just be as honest as you can. Because at first you went to Screw Attack, and
Yeah.
we know how Screw Attack was at that point. It was, the website had, it was a blue background, but it was white foreground, very colorful, white and blue. You've got all the bright colors that are happening at Screw Attack. It's got kind of a jockish feel to it. I think that's fair to say. I don't think Craig would dispute that.
I don't think so.
But then you go to DTT, which is darker. The color scheme is much darker. It's a lot nerdier. You've got a lot of that going on. How did you feel when you initially saw the contrast between the two?
The contrast, the DTT site was easier on the eyes, obviously, because it had a darker background, and it wasn't, entirely bright, which isn't the fault of Screw Attack. I do like the way that Screw Attack presented their site, and I do like how DTT presented our site, basically. And I will say this: I'm glad we did not have green text on a black background. I'm glad we didn't have that.
Oh,
As far as reading our words, because that would have been I would have driven away from that. So I'm glad we kept the white text on black background.
yes. I had that much design sense about me.
Oh my lord. Because if it had green text on a black background, I would have been gone.
Oh,
I would have been immediately like, fuck this site.
I think I would have,
But,
dismissed myself at that point.
but no. Aside from that, it was a very easy to read website.
Mm-hmm.
DTT was. More so than ScrewTech because it's less strain on the eyes. And as far as that design aspect goes, I think you should be applauded for that. But again, that's not a fault of Screw Attack.
Mm-hmm.
Screw Attack was wildly successful, still is wildly successful.
Yeah, Sean is doing great work with Screw Attack, so kudos to him.
Some people won't agree with that, but I respect the hell out of it.
Yeah, I'm sorry if they don't agree with that, but I think Sean is doing great work. They continue to grow over there, so kudos to Sean and everybody who's working under him. I think they're doing great stuff.
Yeah.
So let me ask you about the different attitudes. So we've got the color scheme and everything there, but there's clearly different attitudes happening. Screw Attack, I would say more bright, cheery, and all including welcoming everybody. I would say the attitude that we had over DTT was kind of more, we're going to fight to show everybody what we're capable of doing. We're going to band together, and we're going to fight for this. Would you agree?
Yeah. To an extent, yes. We're also kind of a reserved bunch, I will say. The community goes. We were kind of a reserved bunch, but that's not really the fault of anybody. But on that sense, too, we're also inclusive as well.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of had to win over some people, but in the end of the day, I think most of the people there were kind of won over when they were new to the community and all that. So it was tougher to get the approval of a community with DTT, but it was also not entirely stern, I feel.
Right.
So,
Well, there was also the negative connotations that some people heard when it came down to it. So
yeah.
sometimes that was kind of me, I admit. It's rough when you don't realize for years on end that you're bipolar. Didn't know. Whoops. So
Whoopsie daisy.
that's a bit of a thing. And then there was, I'm sure you recall this too. You guys are trying to take over Screw Attack.
Bullshit.
Do you recall that?
I do recall that, and I think that was very laughable. Very. I don't know what else to say about it. That was just a laughable statement. Like, I don't know who exactly thought that we were trying to take over Screw Attack. We did not want that business. I mean, that's Craig's business. We only wanted to be a part of that community, and we want to kind of extend a branch on that community. That's not exactly taking anything over.
Exactly.
So,
I don't know who we're strong-arming here, but...
Yeah. Honestly, that was just a very weird statement to make, because you also had the Pawn Shop.
Mm-hmm.
Those lads over in the UK that were friends of ours.
Mm-hmm. So they were big supporters and good friends, too. The funny thing about the whole you're trying to take over Screw Attack thing is, let me go ahead and lay the groundwork for people who may not have been there or fully understand what went on with the website. So debates to this, first and foremost, started as just a username I used on AOL at one point. And then I was like, oh, here we go. It's a name for a website, sure. But after that...
I'll just make a website, why not?
Yeah, sure. And I just put my own junk on there for a good while. But then afterward, it actually came down to it had a point. The point was we were mocking games media. We were mocking different things like that and said, the whole mess is debased to this. It's come down to the fans are the ones that have to tell you what's going on and bring you the stuff. So,
and in some way, that's still kind of true.
Oh, yes, I could definitely say so. I think a lot of people who are on YouTube looking at game content are not looking at what Kotaku has to say when it comes to hits. They're looking at what, I don't know, random example,
Donkey.
Pro Jared, Donkey, Peanut Butter Gamer, all those guys.
Yeah.
So that's who they're looking toward.
They're looking at individuals who kind of do their own independent thing. That's not to say that, you have people not going to IGN. Of course, people are going to IGN.
Absolutely.
It's a huge website. You got people going to GameSpot. You got people going to Giant Bomb. I think Giant Bomb is the very fine line between personalities and doing actual journalistic work. Because obviously you have a person like Jeff Gerstmann, who started out at GameSpot, left because of the whole Kane and Lynch debacle, and then went and formed Giant Bomb with Brian Davis, rest his soul, and then got bought out by CVS again.
I'm glad you brought up the Kane and Lynch debacle with Gerstmann, because here's something I haven't really talked about, even with Eric when we did this part 1. So when I started talking about it's debased to this and the fans have to do the work, that's exactly what I had in mind. Can you really trust publications when they're going to fire people for giving fair reviews? Don't trust them. Come to us.
That's very true. And I feel like if we were to talk to Jeff Gerstmann, he would feel kind of the same way in a way. Not entirely, but, to some extent. Because when you're advertising for a game, like what GameSpot did with Kane and Lynch, and then you have a guy give it a fair review. Like, it was a favorable review. Like, it wasn't a 5. It wasn't a 4. It was a 7. If I remember correctly, anyway, it was a 7 or a 7.5 out of 10 is what Kane and Lynch got, and apparently the publishers weren't happy with that. Which, now looking back at it, I feel like if a publisher got a 7, that would be passable.
Yeah,
that would be a lot more passable than some of the games that are coming out, like Mass Effect Andromeda, where it's half finished, or even like a Batman Arkham City, where the game is unplayable on PC.
Exactly. That was the big thing I was thinking of when writing that mission statement and putting that on the website. That very thing to me said, can you really trust them? Are you sure? Because you could, come and get the information from us instead. And then there was the big slogan that came with the website, New Gaming Underground.
Yes.
So I mentioned that because, I kind of saw it that way. We were an underground team of people that were making videos and everything. But that actually fed into the nonsense that people were saying in terms of, oh, you're trying to take over Screw Attack. Because as I was talking with it, I remember, I believe it was Josh, Bracky Wacky, when I was talking about that, and I was like, they say we're trying to take over Screw Attack, and he was like, what, like the NWO?
Oh my god!
And I was like, no way! And that's where, when people see the DTT spray logo, when you go to the Twitter account now, you see the letters DTT, New Gaming Underground, like NWO, New World Order. That's exactly where that came from.
Yeah, and it was perfect, but I'll give them this. Like, I feel that Screw Attack, the guys over at Screw Attack, they knew what was kind of going on, and they kind of not entirely played off with it. Like, they didn't make us like a big deal or anything, which they shouldn't have.
Right.
Or nor did they. But they also kind of like poked fun at it a little bit too, which, you're supposed to.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they were in on it, on the joke a few times, which is always fantastic. That was man, those were some fun times.
Yeah. Oh man, but those conspiracy theorists, I'll tell you what, that was kind of funny.
Well, I appreciate them helping with the marketing with that. Thank you guys. I appreciate the ideas. Because I would say that was a home run. So thank you very much, guys.
Yes.
And then with that, we also did podcasts and everything else. We had the Codec, which you were on there quite a few times. Primarily it was Dina and me, but you were there a few times as well. Yeah. Mystery Video Game Theater 9000, like we talked about there. We did a lot of, crazy stuff with that. So I'm going to ask you this because right now, this is a Reset Press broadcast. It's going to be a Reset Press podcast when everything's said and done. And we created this brand together. What parts do you think led to Reset Press?
I feel that, we needed some sort of website to kind of host our podcast. Really, that was the main driving point of it. DTT ended in 2012, I believe, and some people wanted us to make a website, and I was like, oh, I don't have the money, and nor does Patrick to really host this website, because if we did have the money, then Device of This would still be here to this day. But we did not have the money regardless of that. But that's not to say it was all it was all a financial decision. Of course, that's not entirely the case, but it was, I feel like, a majority with that decision. But as far as building Reset Press goes, I wanted to try and make a website after college and see where I could go from there. But as I got older, I feel, and which is, it's funny to say because you're a lot older than me, Patrick. But as I got older, I felt, I was kind of growing tired of it. It got too busy, got too much pressure, and all this other stuff. Like, it got to be a chore. And I feel like if it got to be a chore, I needed to stop. So that's not a fault to you. That's not a fault to me. That's not a fault to anybody, really. That's just how I felt at the time. But that's what I felt, and so I left the website. And I feel like it's going to be a lot better because you don't want someone kind of bogging it down in some way. So what you and Eric are doing right now is fantastic stuff. I wish you two success in the future. A lot more success than what we had at DT.
Right. Yeah, that was unfortunately one of the factors that led me to pull the plug. Was we finally got a website up and going, a website that was workable after the great hack of 2011. right near the beginning of 2011. Someone was able to hack the website and just trashed it.
We know who it was, but
yeah,
we won't.
I'm not gonna say it because man, that started some frustrations with people who were.
That was very petty.
Oh yeah, petty. There were some people who were telling me straightforward, you don't know for a fact it was this person, and in my country it's innocent until proven guilty, and I'm just like, what? Do you want me to take him to fucking court? I know it was him. But I digress. That happened. We actually got a real website up and going, but the unfortunate thing is everybody decided it was time to move on. Weren't a lot of people that were making stuff. And I actually went to a professor of mine at Marshall University, and I told him the situation. I have this media website where we're doing game-related content, journalistic stuff. We're not really, because DTT was kind of tongue-in-cheek, whereas Reset Press is far more serious, in my opinion. But I just asked him straightforward, I'm considering pulling the plug. What do you think? And he was like, well, if you really think there's a future with something like this, I think you should stick it out. And that's when I went home that night and said, nah, there's no future here.
Oh, jeez.
I was just as honest as could be. I was like, no, there's no future with this. It was, unfortunately, I'm going to say bad things about my creation now. While the whole time we've been praising, I'm going to say some bad things about my creation. The branding was bad. Someone had mentioned before when they were being very critical and just up in my face about it, they were saying, how on earth can you name a website something negative like that, the base to this? I'm like, well, you kind of have a point. The logo, as much as we all love the old Skull and Clover, was not very professional. That held it back. A lack of people who wanted to work with it, a lack of people who saw faith in it anymore. It was a dead brand. While it was, yeah, it was my creation. It was a fine creation, but it was a dead creation. And that is, unfortunately, what led to the end of it.
Yeah.
So that's how that went. But back on a quick lighter note before we wrap this up, because I can't end that way. Jesus! We can't end that way.
Sure we can.
It died. The end.
It died. The end. It's like Gary Johnson. It's like, the whole world is just going to be engulfed by the sun. What's the point? I remember that presidential campaign. That was funny. That was very funny.
That was perfect. I'm sure people were lining up like, yeah, this guy's got the ticket. Perfect. What a fool.
Anyway.
So, there are some people who have gone on to be pretty major stars when it comes to DTT. Unfortunately, they will not acknowledge that they were there at any point. But I'm just going to go ahead and name two of them specifically, the two that will not admit that they were there. Pat the NES Punk and Pro Jared. So, when we got those two to show up at the website and start posting content, how did you feel about that? Did you think that, we were going to be going forward with this, or did you think, well, what did you think?
Well, what I thought at first with the whole Jared deal was like, holy shit, Jared's joining our team. That was what I thought. Even though it was just a place for him to kind of like try out this whole Pro Jared thing, because there was a kerfuffle at Screw Attack and how they wouldn't post this content. But, that's up for them to decide. We're not here to decide anything like that.
Yep.
But we just had a place for Jared to host these videos, and that's where it all started, with Two Worlds.
Yes.
And it was in 2010, I believe?
Yep. It was right around the time, and I think everybody knows this story at this point, so I don't think Jared would be like, oh my god, you're telling the story. So, Jared was getting interested in doing his own stuff. He wasn't against what he was doing at Screw Attack, but he also wanted to do different things.
He wanted to do his own thing, which good for the guy.
Right, but Craig was not okay with that. Not okay with that at all. So he wanted somewhere else where he could host and be in, a friendly environment. And, we were probably the most friendly environment you could reach out to at that point. So that's what he did. We got all that going and everything there. I was the one person when I was trying to design what the title cards would look like. I took like a silhouette of him and I just put like a tie on it because pro Jared. And I was like, yeah, you should do the tie. And he's like, no, we're not doing the tie. So that was.
So what he went with was still like the button-up shirt and all.
Yeah, he was doing that. That was in the video, and I'm like, yeah, that's good. But here's the thing, like I think would really work, and I could put this in the silhouette is the tie. And he was like, yeah, I'm not really doing that tie. And I was like, well, okay, I'll figure something out. But yeah, he showed up and he did a few videos there, and then he went on to do great things elsewhere. But here's
and I will say this: Pro Jared was a name before DTT.
Oh, absolutely.
Pat was well successful before he joined DTT. I think he joined DTT just for the fun of it all.
Right, because he was also posting on PlayTheNES.com. He was posting there as well at the time. But, I mean, the thing there is, we had great times with those folks, especially Pat, because he hung around a lot longer. And, I actually had,
He didn't have to.
Right. And I actually had...
He could have posted the one video and then went about his day.
He very well could have.
He very well could have, because he had the name to just kind of tell us to fuck off. And... he didn't, and he stuck around for some time. And Pat, I doubt you listening to this.
I doubt it too.
But if you do stumble upon it, thank you.
Yes,
and
I could say
respect the hell out of you.
Yeah, I could say every time because Pat would actually message me on AIM back in the day. Yeah, AOL Instant Messenger. Oh my God,
AIM so long ago.
But he was a really cool, laid back dude at that time, and I appreciate everything he did. I appreciate everything Jared did.
Absolutely.
So I'm glad that forever, I will forever remember that those two were there. They were there. Now the fun part is, let's see if anybody out there could do it. Get them to say they were. That's the one thing. I got Jared to say it one time when he was drunk at SGC. Because I came up to say hi to him after, I think it was Mario Party After Dark or whatever they were doing, and he was sloshed, just out of his mind. And I was like, hey, Jared, I just wanted to come up and say hi to you. And he's like, oh, Debaser, man. It's good to see you. How's DTT doing? Like, Jared, that's been gone for a while.
But, I don't think, I don't think either of them would be willing to, deny. Well, at least I don't think Jared would be willing to deny where, the whole web series got its start. But it's nice that they were a part of the site.
Yeah.
It's nice that they had something to do with the site.
Yeah.
So I'm forever grateful to them, and I respect both of those men.
So I'm going to put you in the hot seat. It's like the ending part for everything here.
Oh, no.
Favorite contributor and favorite series? Go.
Me.
That was easy. That was very, very easy. Poor Kane Kusanagi. Poor Kane.
No, Kane was great, man. I mean, Kane had... I still wonder where he is to this day. Kane, man, he was so good. Classic Keys, Dante, Eric, Dina, myself, you, Niraman. All these people.
So many people contributed there. Tren, with all of his Let's Plays, had his own...
was there too.
He had his own section in the forums for Let's Plays. At first it was the Let's Play section, then nobody else wanted to do Let's Plays, so I just renamed it to the Tren section. It's like you have your own. Enjoy.
It was great. It was wonderful.
There was
But,
OD with his comics.
oh yeah, OD. I forgot about him. Man, that I hope that guy's well.
I hope so too. I haven't talked to him in forever. Keys actually started with I remember the one thing I got him to do, and I would hope that one day maybe Nearman would do this again. I should encourage him to do it again. With Keyboard Man, because his big thing was he played the keyboard. And I told him, I was like, you call yourself Keyboard Man, and we shortened it to Keys. Keys, I was like, do something called Unlocking the Game. Show people how to play the music. So that took off, and then Keys banished it to a vortex somewhere. But Niramen picked it back up. And he started doing Unlocking the Game. Man, it'd be great to see that again.
I feel like we should kind of nudge Nearman and say, hey, you want to try this shit again?
Like, if you're worried about me claiming that I own the name, you can have it. I don't care. Just do it. I want to watch it.
Yeah. I think a lot of people will be willing to watch that kind of content again.
Damn right. All right, but that's the big stuff I had to cover here because we're getting close to the 1 hour mark. So, any last words?
Well, that's kind of morbid.
We're gonna shoot you up back. I'm sorry.
All right. Well, I just want to say that DTT was a hell of a ride. Reset Press was a pretty fun ride too. You and Eric are gonna do good things. I'm sure of it. I'd be willing to come back for a special appearance on a podcast again. But
it's
my
happening.
Goodness. But yeah, it was a ride. What a ride.
Awesome. Well, that is it for part 2 of the DTT years. Yeah, man. What is wrong with me today? Usually when we do stuff live, like the concept is if you do it live, nothing can go wrong. Let me break that for you, kids.
Yeah.
Whew. Part 3 I have scheduled already, but it's going to take a bit because her schedule is very busy. But Dina Natali, Cybercat, she doesn't go by that anymore. But anybody who remembers Dina Natali or follows what she does right now with her horror movie reviews or My Little Pony stuff, anything like that, she would be on for part 3.
It's quite a contrast between the two.
Yeah, I know.
It really is. I mean, that's great stuff, but I mean, wow, horror and then MLP.
Yeah.
What? That's like two ends of the spectrum. And it's like, oh, we have this wonderful, nice thing, and then we're gonna kill everything.
The only thing I can tell you is don't underestimate Dina.
Oh, I never do.
She will destroy all.
You got to mention Peggle to her. So I remember back in the day, she was all about the Peggle.
I am writing that right now, actually. There we go. So thank you for that, because I'm definitely going to bring that up.
You're welcome. You're welcome for that.
I'm definitely going to bring that up with the codec, especially that one time. We're supposed to be ending this. But I have to tell the story now. Because some people may remember it, some people may not. But there was one episode where, she was just going nuts with the whole Peggle thing. And I was like, next time I'm going to make a big thing where, we're going to do acting and just be Peggle is taking you over. And I have to get you to snap out of it so you could do the podcast. We seriously, we did a few takes of that, and then I put it at the beginning and listened to it, and it was like, what the fuck are we doing?
That was great! Oh my goodness. Alright. That'll have to be saved for part 3, though.
Yes. I don't want to tell the full story there, because that is going to be some fun. I want to get her reaction there. So, yeah, part 3 of the DTT years. Don't miss it. And for Tanner, for me, for Reset Press, thanks for coming out and listening. Take care.
Au revoir.